Hello and welcome to Mad About Superheroes Cartoon Showcase. Thanks for joining me in my ongoing quest to bring meaning back to Saturday mornings. Today we are going to revisit my absolute favorite episode of the Real Ghostbusters cartoon series, more specifically, The Boogieman Cometh. Written by Michael Reeves, who also contributed his writing talents to Star Wars Droids, Centurions, and the acclaimed Batman the Animated Series, which are just a few credits among many others. The Real Ghostbusters is a spin-off sequel cartoon series to the 1984 comedy movie Ghostbusters. The television series ran from 1986 to 1991 and was produced by Columbia Pictures Television and Deke Enterprises. The Real Ghostbusters retains the essence of the characters in the original Ghostbusters film created by writers Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and director Ivan Reitman, just to name a few. The series continues the adventures of paranormal investigators Dr. Peter Venkman, Dr. Egon Spengler, Dr. Ray Stantz, and Winston Zeddemore. The Real was added to the title after a dispute with Filmation and its Ghostbusters properties. As a result, a competing Ghostbusters cartoon was produced by Filmation and aired slightly prior to the Real Ghostbusters series. The Filmation cartoon series is just goofy, wacky fun aimed at a younger audience than the Deke series. Though the Real Ghostbusters lasted 5 seasons, my personal favorites are within the first season. At the top of the list is definitely The Boogieman Cometh. Chasing down the ghost of a notorious gangster may seem out of the ordinary for most, but is just another average day in New York City for the Ghostbusters.
You don't scare us, Louie. Take away those supernatural powers and you're nothing but another 2-bit dead hood. Hit it!
Nah! 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 I've been praying, see? Nah! Nah! Nah!
Another ghost? Another dollar.
What?
As night falls, the quartet settle in for a well-deserved night's sleep, but resident-friendly ghost Slimer is a nocturnal, eternal soul and excels at aggravating Peter.
Slimer! Hey, Ray, I think it might be a good time to test this new ghost bomb Egon designed. You know, the one guaranteed to disintegrate all spirits within a 50-yard radius.
Just when they begin to get some shut-eye, they are awakened by Janine, accompanied by some unexpected guests. The children explain they have been consistently haunted nightly by the Boogeyman. Though Peter chalks up their claims as overactive imagination, Egon, however, seems shocked by this revelation. The children persist and Egon convinces the others that it's worth their attention. Though they are skeptical, the Ghostbusters suit up, hop into Ecto-1, and put the pedal to the metal.
You want to tell us why you're so hot to take this case, Egon?
Let's just say it's personal.
Thanks, Egon. That explains a lot.
When they arrive at the children's home, they investigate, but only Egon really seems to be taking the children's claims seriously. Inside the children's closet is a portal of some sort. The majority of Ghostbusters are more surprised that the children's claims are legit than they are of the paranormal activity they are experiencing, and they go to work. The Boogeyman recognizes Egon. He hesitates for a moment before reacting to the situation accordingly. His teammates back him up, but the Boogeyman is not a ghost, and their ghost-busting gear is ineffective by traditional means against the freakish monstrosity.
Go full stream!
However, they are able to force him into the closet and back into the portal.
Now do you believe me?
Yeah, kid.
Egon overzealously wants to pursue the Boogeyman, but his teammates disagree and think they should devise a plan before engaging in a second round with their spooky adversary. The children's parents aren't too happy with the Ghostbusters' disruption in their house, and the team head back to the firehouse to come up with a plan. Egon explains to his teammates that his interest in the paranormal began when he was haunted by the Boogeyman as a child. They learn that the Boogeyman thrives on the fear of children. They have an idea to lure him out and spring a trap for the fear-thirsty monster.
This might be just what we need to seal him up in his own world forever.
Winston goes to check on the children while the others set the plan into motion. His instincts are spot on. The Boogeyman is not happy with the children ratting him out to the Ghostbusters. But before he can get too up close and personal with the kids, Winston intervenes.
Hi, Mr. Ghostbuster!
Remember, if you're not afraid, he can't hurt you.
The Ghostbusters then rent an apartment in a location the Boogeyman will most likely haunt according to PKE readings in the area. They set up a room to create the proper ambience of a kid's bedroom. and judging by Ray's childlike reaction to the toys placed in the room, they decide to disguise him as a rather large toddler as proper bait for the Boogeyman. Ray goes method with the role and aggravates the easily aggravated Peter.
Peter!
What?
Tell me a story.
He's just getting into the role.
He's gonna be in a body cast if he keeps this up. Once upon a time, there were 4 Ghostbusters who had a job to do, only couldn't do it because one of them wouldn't go to sleep. The end!
Just after midnight, the closet door opens. The Boogeyman has eagerly taken the bait and revels at the sight of a new victim.
Freeze! Ghostbusters!
Ray springs into action, surprising the Boogeyman. The other Ghostbusters rush to his side. They open fire on the Boogeyman, but he's not going down without a fight. Once again, the Ghostbusters push him back into the portal. But this time, before the portal can close, they force the portal open and run after him.
See you on the other side, Egon.
Unfortunately for them, they are in strange new surroundings. A weird upside-down world. That's the Boogeyman's realm. A realm with an infinite amount of doorways leading to countless children's closets. Just when they thought the job couldn't get any more difficult, they now face the Boogeyman on his own turf. The Ghostbusters, steadfast in completing their mission, pursue the Boogeyman back and forth through his topsy-turvy realm.
Yeah! Go get him, Ghostbusters! Bust the Boogeyman!
They overcome one obstacle after another, until they rig their proton packs to a ghost bomb in hopes of creating a hyperspatial implosion strong enough to seal the portal to the Boogeyman's realm forever. But just before the Big Bang, the Boogeyman shows up to bid the Ghostbusters a not-so-fond farewell. Egon confronts his fears head-on and has a final showdown with his childhood tormentor. The Boogeyman threatens the children, but the kids remember Winston's sage advice.
If we're scared, he can get us. We've got to be brave. Come on.
They stand up to the Boogeyman. He underestimates the children and slips up, giving the Ghostbusters just enough time to escape the Boogeyman's clutches and the incredible explosion, which effectively seals the portal to his realm.
What's going on here? Get back!
What was that?
That, Mrs. Carter, was the Boogeyman going bye-bye.
The Real Ghostbusters has a totally awesome 80s cast of voice actors. Lorenzo Music as Peter Venkman. Lorenzo was most famously the voice of Garfield for decades. He was also the voice of Super Pac on the Pac-Man cartoon series. Maurice LaMarche as Egon Spangler. Maurice also voiced more than a few characters in the Deke era of G.I. Joe, including but not limited to Serpentor and Destro. Arsenio Hall as Winston Zeddemore. The 90s late-night talk show host actually won the role of Winston over his actual live-action counterpart, Ernie Hudson. Hudson lobbied to voice the part, but lost the role to Arsenio. Laura Summer as Janine Melnitz. And last but certainly not least, the legendary Frank Welker as Ray Stantz, Slimer, and this episode's big bad guy, the Boogeyman.
Egon, move!
As if this episode's credits weren't enough, Welker has voiced tons of characters for decades. Some of my personal favorites are Iceman on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, Darkseid on the Superpowers cartoon, and Megatron on G1 Transformers. The Real Ghostbusters cartoon series also incorporates the Ray Parker Jr. theme song from the movie into the series, with extra music provided by seasoned cartoon music composers Shuki Levy and Haim Saban. Like most other 80s cartoons, The Real Ghostbusters had an awesome toy line produced by Kenner. Though the live-action 1984 Ghostbusters movie dropped the ball when it came to merchandising, especially in the toy department, the cartoon series merchandising was a slam dunk. Kids could finally act out their very own paranormal adventures with the Ghostbusters action figures.
Activate the Turtle Blasters! We bring no Ghostbusters!
Peter Venkman, bad to the bone and sludge bucket with ectoplasm, each sold separately. Ghostbusters from Kenner.
Now Comics produce a monthly series based on the cartoon, so in between episodes of the animated series, kids could get their Ghostbusters fix on the printed page of fully illustrated color comic books. In the beginning of the Boogieman Cometh, they establish how routine things are for the Ghostbusters. Not that their job is easy, but they have the tools and the talent to go up against the average spook and specter haunting the neighborhood. Then the Boogeyman enters the picture, and things aren't so routine anymore. The Ghostbusters then have to rise to the challenge in order to defeat the Boogeyman. Egon having a traumatic childhood connection to the Boogeyman was a good way of upping the stakes and making things more personal. The trauma he experienced as a kid at the hands of the Boogeyman ultimately led him on the path to becoming a Ghostbuster.
When I was a child, the Boogeyman would come out of my closet. He's the reason I started investigating the supernatural. I wanted to find a way to stop it.
The idea or story of the Boogeyman dates back as far as the 1500s. There are many different versions of the Boogeyman from many different cultures. The Boogeyman is a mythological creature typically used by parents to frighten their children into behaving. Stephen King wrote a short story called The Boogeyman in the 70s. The macabre tale cemented his status as a master of horror. The concept is ripe for cinema adaptation. There was a 1980 movie called The Boogeyman. There was also a 2005 movie titled The Boogeyman based on King's short story, which actually spawned a sequel a few years later. A 2023 film adaptation of King's work was also released. The only one I actually saw was the 2005 Boogeyman. After the film's strong opening sequence, the rest of it is pretty underwhelming and very forgettable. The idea of the Boogeyman inspired countless stories and characters over the years. For example, the Boogeyman is referenced more than a few times in John Carpenter's 1978 classic, Halloween.
Was the Boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
The Real Ghostbusters version of the Boogeyman may have been inspired by a classic macabre tale, but writer Michael Reeves put his own unique stamp on the fable. And the artists that designed the Boogeyman deserve a great deal of credit for adding to the creep factor of the character. I think the idea of the Boogeyman thriving on children's fear had to be inspired by Stephen King's It. The Boogieman Cometh episode is an absolute standout. All of us can recall a time in childhood of being afraid of what's hiding in our closets or what's lurking under our beds. It's extremely relatable. Equally relatable is Egon's willingness to confront his childhood fear and overcome it, with the support of his friends. Series writers such as J. Michael Straczynski and Michael Reeves picked up the torch of the original movie's creative team and ran with it. The series consistently features interesting stories and effectively connects the animated series to the original film, and is a pitch-perfect continuation. And in many ways, The Real Ghostbusters is much more effective a continuation than any of its big-screen sequels or reboots. Episodes such as Citizen Ghost, Mr. Sandman, When Halloween Was Forever, and of course, The Boogieman Cometh, just to name a few, are worthy of big-screen treatment in my opinion.
Yipe! He's back! All right, Boogie, we know you're in there.
Come out with your talons up.
Come on.
Hey, chill out, man. Let's
Hey! Let me blast him. I mean it. I'm talking full stream here. This ghost is toast. Let go of me!
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cartoon Showcase. If I've successfully put you in a spooky Halloween mood, please check out one of these other spooky videos. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for letting your geek flags fly with Mad About Superheroes.